I'm Caroline Simpkins, a former professional ballerina turned researcher, and today I want to share something deeply personal, my journey with papillary thyroid cancer, which began while I was still dancing professionally. As dancers, we develop an extraordinary awareness of our bodies. We're trained to notice the smallest shifts in balance, breath, and energy. It's this heightened body awareness, something I had honed over years of training and performance, that helped me notice when something wasn't quite right. I felt something off, something subtle but persistent. And that small signal, which might have been easy to ignore, turned out to be a sign of thyroid cancer. Now, as a researcher and a survivor, I want to help others recognize those early signs. Thyroid cancer can be easy to miss, but it's also highly treatable when caught early. I want this episode to offer both awareness and reassurance. If you or someone you love has just received a thyroid cancer diagnosis, I want you to know it's going to be okay. It's overwhelming at first, but there is a clear path forward, and you are not alone. Knowing what to expect and hearing from someone who's been through it can make all the difference. Before I dive deeper into my experience, I think it's important to explain what the thyroid is and what thyroid cancer means. The thyroid is a small butterfly-shaped gland located at the base of your neck. Despite its size, it plays a huge role in regulating many of the body's essential functions, like metabolism, heart rate, temperature, and even energy levels, by producing hormones that affect nearly every organ system. When something goes wrong with the thyroid, it can quietly throw your whole body off balance. Papillary thyroid cancer, which was the type that I was diagnosed with, is the most common form of thyroid cancer. It typically grows slowly and is often considered highly treatable, especially when caught early. But like any cancer, it still carries emotional weight and physical consequences. One of the tricky things about thyroid cancer is how quietly it can show up. For me, it all started in the most ordinary moment. I was driving one day, sitting at a red light, when I absent-mindedly touched my neck and felt a small lump right in the middle of my throat. It caught me off guard. It wasn't painful, just there. I followed my instincts and scheduled a doctor's appointment. When I went in, my doctor felt the lump and told me I should see an endocrinologist. Probably nothing, he said, but worth checking out just to be safe. Unfortunately, I couldn't get an appointment with an endocrinologist for a few months, so in the meantime, I just went about with my life. At the time, I was in the middle of rehearsals for the Nutcracker, dancing the Sugar Plum Fairy, one of the most demanding and iconic roles in ballet. Looking back now, I realized that the lump in my neck wasn't the only sign that something was off. I remember the extreme fatigue that crept in, even during rehearsals. No matter how much I rested, I felt like I was dancing in someone else's body, like my strength and stamina had quietly just slipped away. At the time, I chalked it up to stress or just being out of shape because I was freelancing at the time and my training schedule was not as regular as it had been while I was in a company. But now I know that my body was trying to tell me something much deeper. I made it through the Nutcracker performances. They went well, not my best, and I knew that, but they were fine. I was proud to have done it, even though something felt a little bit off. A few weeks later, I finally got in to see the endocrinologist. She felt the lump in my neck and, like my primary doctor, said it was probably nothing. But just to be safe, she suggested doing a biopsy. So on Christmas Eve, I went in for what's called a fine needle aspiration. That sounds intense, but it was actually quick and not very painful. Just a few small samples taken from the lump in my neck with a very thin needle. Then a week later, on New Year's Eve of all days, I was at home getting ready to go to a friend's wedding reception when my phone rang. It was the endocrinologist, and she told me the biopsy came back positive. I had papillary thyroid cancer, and I would need to meet with a surgeon. It hit me like a brick wall. I was 29 years old, otherwise completely healthy. I exercised regularly, I ate well, I had never smoked a cigarette in my entire life. I remember just thinking, how the heck did I get cancer? It didn't make sense and it didn't feel real. The next step was meeting with my surgeon. During that appointment, he did a thorough ultrasound, first over my thyroid and then up the right side of my neck. Some of the lymph nodes looked suspicious in my neck, so he wanted to take a closer look at those as well. He told me pretty quickly the entire thyroid had to come out, no question. And because of the lymph nodes in my neck, he also recommended removing some of those as a precaution. That meant I wouldn't just be having a standard thyroidectomy. I'd be having what's called a total thyroidectomy with a partial neck dissection. Basically, a more extensive surgery, and with it, a larger scar than I had initially expected. We looked at the calendar, and the soonest we could schedule the surgery was a month away. I remember panicking. I wanted the cancer out yesterday, and the idea of just walking around with it still inside me for a whole month was truly terrifying. But the surgeon was calm and reassuring. He explained that papillary thyroid cancer is very slow growing, and waiting a few weeks wouldn't make a difference in terms of how the cancer behaved. I held on to that reassurance, even though the waiting felt impossibly long. A month later, I had the surgery. To this day, it's still the only real surgery I've ever had, aside from getting my wisdom teeth out. And I won't sugarcoat it. I was terrified. The idea of being put under, of waking up with a part of my body permanently removed, it was a lot to take in. But thankfully, everything went very smoothly. My surgeon removed my entire thyroid, along with 20 lymph nodes from the right side of my neck. Later, we found out that 16 of those lymph nodes were also cancerous. That was shocking, and honestly, it confirmed what I had started to suspect, that this cancer had probably been quietly growing inside me for years. I'm so grateful I trusted my instincts and got that lump checked out when I did. After the surgery, I focused on healing physically and emotionally. I had a few weeks to rest and recover, and then it was time for the next step in my treatment, radioactive iodine therapy. Radioactive iodine therapy isn't what most people picture when they think of cancer treatment. Thyroid cancer is unique in that it usually isn't treated with traditional chemotherapy or external radiation. Instead, doctors use something called radioactive iodine because thyroid cells, both healthy and cancerous, naturally absorb iodine. That makes it possible to target them directly without affecting most of the rest of the body. The treatment itself is surprisingly simple, though the process feels a bit surreal. It starts with a strict low iodine diet for about 2 weeks leading up to the treatment. The idea there is to essentially starve any remaining thyroid cells of iodine so that when you take the radioactive version, they'll absorb as much of it as possible. It's a bit like setting a trap and then springing it on the cancer. On treatment day, I went to the hospital and was taken to a special isolation room. I swallowed a single pill containing the radioactive iodine, and just like that, the treatment was done. But because I was temporarily radioactive, I had to stay isolated for 5 or 6 days afterward. No hugs, no close contact, no sharing space with anyone. It was a strange kind of solitude, especially after everything I had just been through. But oddly, it was also empowering. That one pill felt like the final blow to the cancer. It was quiet, clinical, and deeply symbolic, a sort of closing chapter to a very long and emotional process. After the therapy, I had a full body scan to see if any remaining thyroid cells or cancer had spread elsewhere in my body, like to the lungs or to the bones. Waiting for those results was terrifying. It felt like holding my breath for days. And then, relief. Nothing lit up on the scan. No sign that it had spread. In that moment, I felt like I could finally exhale. For the first time since hearing the word cancer, I felt like I had a little bit of solid ground beneath me again. And that was more or less the end of my active treatment. Surgery and radioactive iodine took care of the cancer itself. But there's still one thing I have to do every day for the rest of my life. Take Synthroid, which is a synthetic form of thyroid hormone. Since I no longer have a thyroid gland in my neck, my body can't produce that hormone on its own. And it's absolutely essential for regulating everything from metabolism to energy levels. At first, taking a daily pill felt like a big adjustment. I had never been on any long-term medication before, but over time it just became part of my routine, something I do every morning without even thinking about it. In the years right after my diagnosis, I also had regular neck ultrasounds with my surgeon to check for any signs that the cancer might be returning. Those follow-ups were always very nerve-wracking, but after about 5 years of clean scans, we were able to stop the ultrasounds. Now I just see my endocrinologist once a year. And at that appointment, they check my thyroid hormone levels and also test for something called thyroglobulin. That's a protein that acts as a kind of cancer marker for thyroid cancer. As long as that number stays really low, it means everything is still okay and the cancer hasn't come back. All in all, it was a surreal and deeply unexpected thing to go through in my late 20s and early 30s. Being diagnosed with cancer at that age is something you just never imagine. But I'm endlessly grateful to the doctors, surgeons, and scientists who helped save my life. In fact, going through this experience is one of the biggest reasons I ended up shifting paths from dancing on stage to being a scientist myself. I had benefited so much from the work of researchers and medical professionals, and I wanted to give back in a meaningful way. That's what ultimately led me to grad school and into the world of research. It became a way to turn something painful into something purposeful. And that, in a nutshell, is my thyroid cancer story. My hope is that by sharing it, I can help someone else out there, whether you're currently going through this, recently diagnosed, or just trying to make sense of something that feels off. I've always been an open book when it comes to my cancer journey, so if you have any questions or want to hear more about a specific part of my experience, feel free to leave a comment. I'm more than happy to share. If there's one message I want to leave you with, it's this: stay in tune with your body. Whether you're a ballet dancer or not, you know your body better than anyone else. If something feels off, even slightly, listen to that feeling. Hopefully it turns out to be nothing, but if it is something, catching it early can make all the difference. I'll be honest, every doctor's appointment still makes me anxious. That fear doesn't totally go away, but staying vigilant is part of how I take care of myself now. And if you ever do find yourself facing a scary diagnosis, please know you are not alone. I've been there. It is scary, but I promise you, you are stronger than you think. You'll find a kind of resilience in yourself that you didn't know existed. Thank you for joining me today for the Ballet Science Podcast. Whether you are a dancer, teacher, student, or simply curious about the mechanics behind movement, I appreciate you being here today. Each week, we'll explore the intersection of science and ballet, from injury prevention and biomechanics to nutrition, mindset, and everything in between. If you enjoyed this episode, please follow this podcast, leave a review, and share it with your friends and dance community. If there are specific topics you'd like to hear about in future episodes, feel free to share them in the comments below. You can also follow Ballet Science on social media and visit our website at ballet.science for additional information. Thank you again for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you next time on the Ballet Science Podcast.